Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's session of the Super Teacher Saturday webinar. My name is Megha and I'm part of the Super Teacher team by Exceed, your partner in bringing 21st century education, quality instruction to your children. Today, we are going to resolve some of the most commonly faced tech challenges by teachers while using the Super Teacher system that is powered by Exceed. I also have Venki here with me today who will be co-facilitating. Venki, would you also quickly like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Megha. Good morning and good afternoon to all. I'm Venkatesh. I'm part of the tech support team. So glad to be part of this session.
So make sure you get all your questions answered, teachers, by Venki, who's here specifically for that today. But to start us off, could you tell me quickly in chat, which is the last tech app of the Super Teacher system that you've used? Is it the Super Teacher app itself? Is it Universal? Is it maybe Lanometer or Test Maker? Which is the last app in this entire system that you have used? Could be this morning, could be yesterday. Just type in the name into the chat. So is it Super Teacher? What did you use last? Super Teacher, Test Maker, Universal. Maybe you helped a student do a Lanometer registration. Okay, I see the responses have started to come in now. Okay, Saraswati ma'am is saying Test Maker. Girija ma'am is saying Super Teacher. Tell me, how did you join this session today? How were you able to join today's session? Asha ma'am is saying Super Teacher and Universal app. Okay. So I see a combination of all our tech products, right? Yes, Girija ma'am, where did you find the link? That is what I'm asking. Where did you find the link? Super Teacher app, Super Teacher. Mostly the last app that teachers have used today is Super Teacher, or could be yesterday. I imagine that you joined today's webinar also using the link that is in Super Teacher. Great to see your responses. Remember, this is an interactive session. And even though I don't see you or hear you at the moment, I definitely expect you to follow along with Venki and me throughout the session and be active, whether you are in the Zoom room with us or via Facebook Live. Okay, so let me share my screen now and take you through what it is that we're going to do today. I see our participants are still warming up. Keep your responses coming, teachers. Registered and joined through Super Teacher app in Exceed Academy. Great. Okay, so in today's session, we will be talking about breaking into tech with the entire Super Teacher program, which has become absolutely essential, especially after the pandemic. We all know, and the new national education policy, at least in India, and that came into effect in 2020. We always have time at the end to answer all the questions that you have, any queries that you may have. So should you have thoughts, questions, queries throughout the session, feel free to keep typing them in chat. We'll make a note of it or leave them in Q&A, and Venki and I will get to it towards the end of the session, definitely. As you know, every Exceed method class begins with the aim, and so does this webinar. So by the end of this webinar, you will be able to do two things. One is identify common technology-related challenges for different aspects of the Super Teacher system. And of course, we'll help you find their solutions as well. And second is get answers to all the tech support-related questions that you may have. So maybe you already have a few. Even before we get into the session, you can type them in chat already. Okay, but why is it essential to talk about technology? Most teachers in India know about the National Education Policy of 2020. And what you see on the screen is a very brief extract from the document. On the use of technology, it says that the meteoric pace of technological development aligned with the creativity of tech-savvy teachers like yourselves and entrepreneurs, including student entrepreneurs. It is certain that technology will impact education in multiple ways, only some of which can be foreseen at the moment. New technologies involving artificial intelligence, and we all know how ChatGPT has taken over suddenly in the last 6 months, machine learning, blockchains, smart boards, handheld computing devices, adaptive computer testing for student development, and other forms of educational software and hardware will not just change what students learn in the classroom, but also how they learn. And thus, these areas and beyond will require extensive research, both on technological as well as educational fronts. Now, with that, let's quickly jump into the tech that we're already using and understand from you that if you currently face a challenge, how do you resolve it, right? In all the technology that we use amongst ourselves. So here is a question on your screen. If you are on Facebook, you will see it with options A to E. Go ahead, read the question and choose the option between A, B, C, D, and E and type it in the Facebook comments. If you are on Zoom, the poll is on your screen now. Question is very simple. Which is the most common way for you to get one of your super teacher tech issues resolved? So whether you have a question or you're getting stuck in a place with respect to test maker or super teacher or universal, how do you resolve it? Do you email at contact@exceed-education? Do you call up our customer care? Do you access the help site? Do you call up your education coach? Do you attend a relevant training or a webinar like you are here today to get your answers to the questions that you have? Let's keep going. Almost 60% of us in the Zoom room have answered the poll. We'll take 30 seconds more quickly. And then I will share the results with everybody. There's no right or wrong answer, teachers, of course. This is to understand you a little bit more, to know what are the processes that you are currently using. Question is, which is the most common way for you to get a super teacher tech issue resolved? Emailing contact@exceed-education, calling up Exceed customer care, accessing the help site, calling the assigned education coach, or attending a relevant training or webinar. I'm going to count you down now from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let me share the result with all of you. Here we go. Okay, according to the teachers here in the Zoom room with us, majority of us attend a relevant webinar. That's very encouraging. That's 34% of us attend a relevant webinar, or the next 30% of us send an email to contact@exceed-education. But still, almost 16% of us still do call our education coaches, which is fine. However, they may not have the answer to all your questions. So Venki and I are here to tell you today what are the other options that you can employ should you be faced with any issue. And for that, we're going to jump straight into our 3 apps, that is Super Teacher, Universal, and Test Maker. Now, I'm going to quickly take you through Super Teacher, and then I will hand over to Venki for Universal and Test Maker. Keep thinking of your questions. I already see some questions in Q&A. That's great. We'll come to it. Acknowledging your questions, we will come to it at the end of it, or they will get answered during the course of our presentation. So quickly to begin with Super Teacher, let me also put on my laser pointer. So I'm going to start with Super Teacher. And as I said, Venki will take over for Universal and Test Maker. I'm speaking now first to the new teachers in the crowd. So all the Super Teachers who are here with us for the first time, you're very new to the Super Teacher program, you will probably need to set up your account with Super Teacher if you haven't already. What you can see is the web version of Super Teacher. So this is web.exceedsuperteacher.com. Of course, you can access it also on the mobile app through your app stores. And it brings you to a page like this. What you will need to do is register and then enter your mobile number. So select your country, enter your mobile number, and click on send OTP to be able to log into your respective apps. However, there are lots of schools that have told us that teachers are not allowed to carry mobile phones into the classroom, which we completely understand. And therefore, you have the option to sign in with your email by setting up a password as well. So yes, but you will still need your system in your classroom to have internet connectivity, but you will no longer need your mobile phone to receive an OTP. You can sign in with Google using a password. And I'm going to quickly also show you how you can set that up. So once you do that, you enter your mobile number and log in. This is the page that you come to. I'm on my app. You can see my name here. My app is already customized. But for our new teachers, I'm going to also show you how you can start by customizing your app. Okay. Before we get to this screen, you will get to your profile details. So if you click on profile, let me show that. So if you click here on profile, it brings you to this page where you have two options, profile details and user code. First and foremost, let's go and select the subjects and grades that we teach. You can select up to a combination of up to 6 subjects and grades over here. So go ahead and do that. You'll see a whole laundry list over here for me. And then what we need to do is enter a user code as well. If you are a teacher who's absolutely new to the Super Teacher system, you'll be doing it for the first time. But if you're not, you will need to repeat this exercise every academic year. So every academic year, your code will change, and we'll come to user code and add a new user code for the start of the new academic session. I just want to quickly say here that if you are an iPhone user, any iPhone user will be able to enter these codes only on the web version. If you try it on your mobile, it will not work. Any other mobile users can, of course, enter the license code even through their app, but iPhone users will need to take this step on the web version itself. Okay, so we've added subjects and sorry, one second. Let me bring you back to Super Teacher. We've added subjects, our grades, we've entered the user code, and we would have our app customized to how we want to start using it, which will look something like this. Now, I am currently not in a physical classroom, which is why this option is unchecked for me. But you will be, most of you have gone back into school in the physical classroom space now. So in case you are in that space and you are using common systems in classroom, so you're a subject teacher who enters grade 3, for example, and then you move on in the next period to grade 4 or grade 6, everybody in that class is using the same system, right? So just switch on the classroom, physical classroom mode here. What this does is that it will quickly log you out and ask the next teacher to set up his or her account when they come into the class, right? So here, this account is customized to my subjects and needs. When you move into your next class and a teacher follows, they will be able to set up log in again and set up their own account. So I'm going to switch that off for me, but remember to use this option should you require it in your physical classroom. Now, another thing, I know that all of you have been familiar with the offline mode. That means the downloading of lesson plans on our mobile app. But we have recently been launched the offline mode on our web version as well. So I'm going to show you that quickly. I am on the web version here and I'm looking at, let's say, grade 3 English. If you click on view all, it opens up the syllabus for the entire year and you see these icons. You'll see these icons over here. So this icon with the down arrow key is actually indicating that I can download this. This one, on the other hand, is telling me that it is already downloaded and I can delete it if I want. But we want to learn how to download today. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to click on this icon over here and it will start downloading. And I'm going to tell you what happens next. So watch closely. What you're going to see is in your browser. If you can see my screen now, in your browser, you will be able to see this icon that will pop up. And if you hover over it, it will ask you if you want to install the Exceed Super Teacher app or not. So this gives you the option, like any other app, to install the Super Teacher app on your desktop, on your laptop, right? So we want to click on that. And once it is downloaded, you will start to see the app icon appear on your desktop, just like any other app. So you can see this Acrobat, Adobe. So you can see that. And just like that, my Super Teacher app is also appearing. Now I can be disconnected from the internet, but the downloaded lesson plan will continue to show here. I can download up to 3 lesson plans on my system, right? So go ahead, do that. If you want to download more, you'll have to delete the first 3 and then go on to downloading more. This option has always been available on the mobile app. I'm not going to demonstrate that again because that is a very common feature by now. But in case you need an explanation on it, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to take you through that also. Lastly, on Super Teacher, so these are some of the things that I have demonstrated, have been concerns, have been questions that have been coming to us on the use of Super Teacher. But what if you have a question? Your teachers, ultimately, your primary responsibility is to teach children. What if you have a question about what you have to teach and how you have to teach it? Then where do you go? So for that also, the Super Teacher app has a solution for you. So I'm back in English grade 3. I'm going to look at any one block and lesson plan. And when I'm opening the lesson plan, you will see that, of course, it has the entire summary and I can scroll through the teacher's view. But if I scroll right to the end of the page, you will come to something called the Q&A section, which is specifically a discussion forum for all of you, for all our teachers, for all the super teachers. Just a minute. Let me stop share, get to the Q&A, and yeah, okay, there we go. So I have scrolled just because my screen was taking a little bit of time. That's why I had to unshare. But if you keep scrolling through the entire lesson plan, this is where you come to. After assessment, you can see there's a teacher reference and there is Q&A. And if you click on ask questions, you want to ask a question, yes, about this lesson, go ahead, click on it. You will see a whole lot of questions that the other teachers have asked. So anybody who has access to this block and grade and English subject, will be able to type in a question and read the question and answer as well. So if you're an English teacher and you have a question, go ahead, come to the Q&A section. Maybe another teacher who is accessing this lesson plan has had a similar doubt and has already asked the question. If you scroll through it, you may find the answer already. But in case you don't, go ahead, type in your question and you will hear right from the subject matter experts at the super teacher team. So in case, and these questions are content related, subject related, implementation related, right? So if you have those type of questions, this is the place to come to have them answered straight from our experts. I'm going to stop there quickly and invite Venki on screen to now take over for Universal and TestMaker.
Thank you, Megha. That was very useful on the Super Teacher app that you had briefed out. So let's move on to the Universal product. I'll again start my screen sharing. All right. So when it comes to Universal, as you all know, the first and foremost action is to get the students registered into the system. And for this, the parents will be going to register.exceededucation.com and they would be filling out this particular form. One of the most common issues or queries that schools or parents have raised is that whenever they complete the registration or try to complete the registration, they see an error message stating invalid user code, right? So as you know, there are two codes that we enter in the registration page. First one is the exceed user code, which is a common code for all the students. It is the same, which is UN79W2. If you move your mouse towards this icon, you will be able to see the same. The school access key, this is the one which is unique for each child. And this particular code has been emailed to all the schools from Exceed side. So in turn, the school will be sharing one unique code to each student separately, and they will be making use of the same. Now, coming back to the common error message, which states invalid user code, it means that the code which the parent has entered just now would have already been applied by another student in the same school. So in such a case, the parent can just connect back with the school asking for a different user code and the school can share the same. Also, the school will be able to, or you can email to our email ID, which is contact@exceededucation.com, asking to resend the universal code email. So what happens in the recent email is you will be able to see which codes have already been used and which codes are still unused. So with this, you will be able to easily identify the unused codes and share a fresh code to the parent. And second one is during the registration process, as you all know, the parent will need to enter either a mobile number. They can also make use of an email ID. So either one of them will be required. They will be verifying this via OTP. So parent can make use of either the mobile number or the email ID for this registration. Now, this is a very basic step of the registration on we try to attend one of the most common issue, which is that invalid user code over here. Now, registration as a process in itself is required to be done only by new students who have joined the school, which any new Exceed schools have joined us this year. Then for all the students of your school, you will be doing the registration. There are schools who have been using Universal for last 2 years, right? In those cases, there would have already been students who have registered in the system. So we keep saying that the registration is a one-time process for a child, which means if the child has got registered in the system last year or the year before, then they need not and should not do the registration. For existing schools or existing Exceed customers, only the new students need to be registered in the system. Now, what will happen for the old students? How can they come into the system and how can they start to use the universal product in the new academic year? So we have a process of migration and segregation, right? Universal school of yours would have already been migrated from Exceed side from last year to the new academic year. Now, what happens during this year migration is all the teacher accounts which were there part of the last year would have already been migrated to the new academic year. all the students who were part of the last academic year have already been migrated to the new academic year. You will be able to see two different academic years when you log in into your universal account. So in such a case, we will come now to the second part of that migration, which is segregation. So what is segregation? I'll just take an example. So last year you had students in grade 1A, 1B, and 1C. They had registered and had used the universal product. During the year migration, what will happen is all the students from grade 1A, 1B, and 1C, they will be migrated to the grade 2 of new academic year. Now, in this grade 2, we need to tell the system whether they are going into grade 2A or 2B or 2C. This is the segregation process. I'll quickly move on to the universal login page. Every teacher, once you log in, this is what you see. Quickly addressing one point over here is on the top right corner, you can see the academic year. And ideally, every teacher should be seeing 23-24 as the academic year over here. In case you are still seeing 22-23, then it means your allotment is not provided for the new academic year in universal. You can just get in touch with your school admin and they will be able to do the same. Now coming back to the segregation process, once you click on this B icon on the top right corner, you will be directed to the student information system, which is the backend of universal. A quick point over here is this particular icon will not be available in the mobile app. It will be available only in the web version. So you can open via Google Chrome. You can go to this universal.exceededucation.com and log in with your account, and you will be seeing this B icon and click on the same. Now, once you click on this, you will be directed to the student information system. So this is basically the home page of the student information system. If you see this particular screen, it means in your school, the segregation has already been completed. I'll just open a short video. In this particular screen, what we see is the segregation is not yet completed. Now, this is the screen that you will see if your school has not yet completed the student segregation. So we will see how we can do this process. So I'll play this. Right. So once you log in, you will see the list of students who are yet to be segregated in that particular school. As you can see in the left-hand side of the table, you have 162 students left in grade 3, and some students have already been segregated to the respective sections. If you scroll down to the particular list, you will see a button segregate students over here. Once you click on it, you will be able to see all the grades available in your school. So let's choose grade 3 for now. And once we are in the grade 3's page, you will be able to see the list of students who are part of grade 2 last year. The last column will tell you whether the student was in 2A last year or 2E last year, right? And you will also be able to sort the headings and assign or sort the students based on a specific class or section. Now, what we are doing here is we are trying to get some students assigned to 3A grade. So I have selected a few students from 2A who are part of last year, and I will be clicking on this assign to my sections over here. Once I do that, there is a pop-up window that appears, which will show me what are the different sections that are available in grade 3 in the current academic year. And once we choose the required section and then click on OK, the student will be assigned to the particular section. So this is the segregation process that needs to be done. This can be done either by the admins or also by the class teachers who have the relevant access. After this completion, ideally, you might have 15-20 students in the entire school in different grades who are still not part of any section. Those are the students who would have got TC from your school and they would have gone to a different school. In such case, you can just click on select the respective students and click on this left school button. Once this is done, the students will be removed from your school in the new academic year and the segregation process will be completed. So just repeating, for new schools and new students, registration is the required process. For students who have already registered in the system, you can just make use of this segregation and then allot them to the respective sections. So this is the also just pointing out, this step is very important because the learnometer test is also very shortly around. As you all know, learnometer test starts from November 1 to November 20, which means students have to be registered in the system, or the segregation process needs to be completed so that the students are ready to take that learnometer test once it is available for your school. Right, so that's on the universal student segregation. Now coming to the other items, one of the again frequent questions that we hear is the parent has registered successfully. However, while doing the registration, they have actually given the section wrongly. Instead of putting the student as grade 3 A section, the parent has mentioned B section. Now, how the school can correct it from their end? As you can see, we are in the student information system page, and on the top right corner, we see a settings button over here. This button will be available only for the admins of the school. It will not be available for any other user. So most of the actions or setting up things, admins will be able to do. So let's say I click on this settings button over here and go to manage students. And this is the place where you will be able to see all the students who have registered in your school. So currently in our school, we have 202 students who are available. If required, I can just choose this drop down and choose a particular grade over here and click on apply. And you will be able to see the list of students in that particular grade and sections. So currently in 1A, you will have, we are having 7 students over here. Now to edit a section, you can just double click on this section field and choose the correct section over here, and finally click on save. So this way, the grade correction or even the spelling correction or entering roll number, admission numbers can be handled by the admin. Another frequent question is, in the registration page, when the parent is trying to go to the select section option, they are seeing only 3 sections, A, B, C. However, we also have a D section in our school. How can that be added? Now, again, you can go to the same settings option over here, and you have something called manage classes. So I've not made saved the changes. I'll click on leave for now. So in settings, manage classes, you will again from the admin side, you will be able to see what all the standards and what are the sections that are available in your school. If you want to add any section, you can just click on that plus symbol over here, and a new section will be created, and just click on save at the bottom. So this will again help the parent to complete their registration to with the right section available. Apart from this, as you all know, in Universal, you have these manage reports option, through which you will be able to create and set up report cards for your term 1 or term 2 exams. Manage users, this is the place where the admin can go and provide the allotments for the teachers. Like for example, this particular teacher is handling grade 4A, 4B, 4C English subject, or this particular teacher is a class teacher of 4A. So these kind of allotments can be given from this manage users page by the admin, and the teacher will be able to see the right academic year in Universal. Similarly, your school might have additional subjects that you conduct. So by default, you will see English, math, science, social in academic subjects. In case you want to add some other subjects like Hindi or Marathi or Tamil, you will be able to do it from this manage subjects option. Now coming back to the Universal page in itself, as you all know, in Universal, we have multiple actions which the teachers or the admins can perform. First and foremost is announcements. As we keep telling, announcements is the best way to connect with your parents and students, and notifying them about the different happenings in your school. Now, in announcements, one of the common questions that we get around is the attachments, right? Photos, videos, PDFs. So I'll just give a brief on that. Number one, you will be able to create any number of announcements in a particular day. There is no limitation for the number of announcements that you create. Second one is, in each attachment, in each announcement, you will be able to upload up to 5 images. This is except for the picture of the day. So picture of the day, I will come to that. But in any normal general announcement, you will be able to upload up to 5 images or PDFs put together. With respect to videos, you will not be able to upload any videos in the announcement. However, you can share the video link in the announcement, and parents can just click on that and make use of it. For example, you have recorded some action or some activity which the children have done in your school, and you want to share it with all the parents. You can just upload that video in your Google Drive, and then you can share that link and then post it in the announcement. Now coming to the picture of the day. So as the name suggests, the picture of the day is to showcase one important image that you have taken, or highlight one image and then show it to the parents. And once you create a picture of the day announcement, it will be automatically appearing in the right hand side of the screen, right? So when you choose the announcement type as picture of the day, you will be able to upload only one image, so that the parent can see which is the most important image or the highlighted action that the children have done in the school today. That's on the announcements. With respect to timetable, again, admin will be able to set up the timetable over here, and set up the standards and sections, and also the teachers who are seeing or conducting that particular class, and then parents will be able to see it. So in announcement, again, one highlighting point is when the admin is trying to add a particular teacher in the announcement, it will only show that list of teachers who are having access to that particular class. So even though the school might have 30 to 40 teachers, you will be able to see only like 4 or 5 teachers who have access to a particular standard and section. And parents will be able to view any kind of classes that you have set up, or any holidays that you are going to mention, that can be visible for the parents to see. Now coming to the student information, right? So this is the place where you will be able to see all the students. We also saw in that student information system, from settings, manage students, you can view the students, but from here also you can view the students. Over here, in that, for each child you have specific actions that you can do, which is uploading photos or videos, or uploading certificates of the children, adding remarks, which is child specific, right? So these remarks, again, the frequent question that we get here is, if I add some remark over here, will it be visible for all the parents? No. Any remark which is added for a specific child will be visible only for that particular parent, so that you can have a communication over here on how the child has been performing. You will also be able to see the report cards that you generate for a term one or any specific exam. Learnometer exam, as I mentioned, once a student completes the learnometer test, they will be able to view the report over here. Every parent will be able to see the same over here. So these are some of the basics of, or basic questions that we usually get out, right, in Universal. Now, we got a bit of introduction about our help site. During the polls, we can see that or one of the common ways for you to address a particular issue is to email contact@exceededucation.com. But I just want to showcase, you can also make use of this help site to get your basic queries resolved. So once you go to this help.exceededucation.com, you will be able to see all the different products, the digital products that we have, which is Super Teacher, Universal, Learnometer, and Test Maker. You can choose any one of the product, and within this, you will be seeing FAQs and videos for each product separately, and you can just view them and see the get your issues resolved. Or most of them would be on how to, right? Like how to create an announcement, how to create a report card, how to generate a report card, how to do mark entry, how to create or set up a timetable. All these how-to questions will be handled in this particular site. You can go to any one product over here. So let's say I go into Universal. It will then take me to the Universal's help page, wherein I will have different categories, whether I can make use of videos or FAQs. So as you can see, if you go into this video library, you will see some videos. If you go into this FAQ, you will be seeing questions and answers for the same. And if I scroll a little bit below, you have some guides, which is basically segregated as a user perspective. So if a parent is clicking on the parent option over here, they will be able to see how to register a student video. They will be able to see how to view the timetable. So something related to the parents. Similarly, for teachers, you will have some videos. And for school admin, you will have specific videos which they can make use of, like setting up the timetable, or setting up the classes, or setting up the subjects. All those videos are available over here. So you can make use of this help site to get your tech queries resolved over here. Also, in the same homepage, which is help.exceededucation.com, at the very bottom of the page, you will see a form which you can make use of. This is very similar to what you do when you email to contact@exceededucation.com. You can just key in your details, your email and mobile number, your name, your school details, what is the issue that you are facing, you can brief the issue over here, or what is that you want to know, you can make use of this in case if it is not available in help site. Any screenshots and video recordings will be really helpful always. You can upload the error messages as a screenshot over here and just click on ask Exceed support. So automatically our team will receive a email query on this. So they will check that particular query and then take it through accordingly. So you can make use of this form also. As I mentioned, it's very similar to you sending out a direct email to contact@exceededucation.com. So that's on universal. Moving on to the test maker, right? So as you all know, test maker is this question paper generation tool through which you can generate any kind of question paper for the exams that you're going to conduct. So one of the frequent questions again that we receive is, hey, we are not, whenever I try to generate a question paper, it's not getting generated. So one very important point to keep notice, the maximum score that we have over here, which is maximum marks, and the number of blocks are very important. Let's say if I try to generate a summative assessment for 80 marks or 90 marks, you will need to choose at least half of the blocks for it to be generating a question paper, because it's a larger exam, so more blocks need to be selected. If it's a, let's say, a class test or a practice test that you want to conduct, you will be choosing like 2 to 3 blocks, right? So maximum marks and number of blocks kind of go hand in hand. The more the maximum mark is being set up, then the more the blocks that needs to be chosen. That's one of a very basic item. Apart from this, there are also other entities. Like if you go to this view saved test option, let me choose one subject and one grade over here, grade 4. So in this particular page, I will be able to see all the question papers which we have already generated. So we have something called test status, right? If at all any question paper has been marked as used already, then it means those questions will not come into the question paper generation, which means my number of questions will be a little bit less for the selected blocks. So in that case, I might need to choose a little bit more blocks for the question paper to be generated. Also, again, as you all know, test status, the core need of this particular feature is if I'm marking a particular question paper as used, it means the next time I generate a question paper, the same question will not get repeated. So this is the usage of this test status functionality. Now I'll quickly try to generate one question paper just for us to see. English and grade 4 I'm choosing. Let me choose a test type as class test. I'll give the minutes as 20 minutes, and I will choose the maximum marks as 20 marks. Let me choose 3 blocks for this to be conducted. And difficulty level and question type, I'm just leaving it as such. So let me click on submit. Okay. So on the top, I can see test generation successful, which means system has generated a question paper. I can just scroll to the bottom and I will be able to see a view test button. I'll click on this. And here I can see the question paper that has got generated. And also just showing here, we have a functionality, which is interchange of questions. So in case you don't want this particular question and you want to replace it with a different question, you can click on this interchange question option. If you have enough options available, you will be able to see the questions over here. So in this case, we don't have any replacement questions available. Hence, there are hence we see this particular message. But you can make use of that interchange question to switch to any question that you don't want to have in the question paper. And finally, once you click on save, you can download, generate, and then download the question paper. So this is on test maker. Okay, so I think we have covered a little bit of the basics or the most frequently asked questions in this test maker and universal. As I repeat, help site is one very useful tool for you where you can get some basic queries resolved from there.
Okay, thanks, Venki. That was very helpful. It is time to do a little bit of reflection on everything that you've been seeing. I know there have been a lot of questions also that are coming in on Q&A. We've been trying to answer them, but before we get in further to that, can you please spend a couple of minutes reflecting on everything that you have heard so far? So we've gone through demos of the Super Teacher, of Universal, and of Test Maker. Which is the one thing that you have learned, something new that you have learned? Maybe you have interacted with all these apps so far and you didn't know something. So any one thing that you learned new today after observing these 3 demos on Super Teacher, Universal, and Test Maker? I still see some questions coming in. Please keep them coming. We will answer them either on chat or Q&A later. But let's also spend a couple of minutes. It will be helpful feedback for Venki and me also to know anything new that you learned in the demos that you have just seen on Super Teacher, on Universal, or on Test Maker. Wonderful. Girija ma'am is saying that she's learned about Test Maker. Great. Okay. Anything in particular, Girija ma'am, that you learned about Test Maker? What about the other teachers? There are so many of us in the webinar today. Okay, Parveen ma'am is saying the used questions in Test Maker. That is helpful, certainly, I'm sure. Saraswati ma'am said before this, I had a doubt about Universal app. Okay. So which doubt has been cleared, Saraswati ma'am, on Universal? Can you please tell me specifically what aspect, the doubt that you have and what has been cleared? Raksha ma'am, changing questions in Test Maker. Yes, I think that's also very useful. You have the option to flip a question. Okay, if some new teachers are saying that they learned a lot of things because they're new to the school, for students who are new to the school as well as teachers, there are lots of new things. Okay. Saraswati ma'am, I am assuming you mean by making announcements to your parents. Is that correct? If we're talking about sending parents things on Universal, we are talking about announcements, right? Okay, great. Let's quickly summarize then everything that we spoke about. Of course, all of you have already told us some points, but let Venki and I just also quickly summarize everything that we spoke about in our demos. Venki, would you be able to take us through help site?
Okay, so with respect to accessing the help site, we just now saw the last of it. Just to summarize, help site, as I mentioned, this is a useful tool for you to go and get any assistance on the product, basically on the 4 different ones. You can, in each help site, you will have that different products. You can just click on the technology that you need help with. You will be able to go to this frequently asked questions to see the questions and answers that you have in the system. Also, as I mentioned earlier, you will have videos specifically for each user, like teachers or parents or admins, which will have the relevant actions explaining over there. So please do visit the help site post this webinar and see, go through them particularly for your product. Next one is with respect to technical challenges. How do you, what is the ideal way to raise a complaint, right? So you see some issue to start with. Now there is the expectation is we need a resolution for it. So before we go into a resolution, what things that you can do is you can go to this again, the help site, as I mentioned. One way to do it is go to help.exceededucation.com. You can click on the app that you want the assistance for. Then you can scroll to the bottom of the page, as we saw in the screen shared earlier. You will be able to see the form that you have, which you can fill in some basic details about it. More importantly, explanation of what is the issue that you are facing. And finally, again, an important aspect is attaching a screenshot for the relevant error message or the issue that you are facing on the screen. And then just click on this Ask Exceed Support button. once this is done, our team will receive a email query from your ID basically, and we will be able to respond to that. Apart from this, as you have already mentioned in the poll earlier, you can directly send a mail to contact@exceededucation.com also.
Okay, quickly for academic and implementation related challenges. So these were all technology related challenges. But if we have a question on the subject, the grade that we're teaching, or how to implement the Exceed method, right? Open up your Super Teacher app and click on the lesson that you will be teaching next. Once you click on that, we are going to scroll to the bottom of the page, the app there, and you come to the Q&A section. This is what it looks like over here. Click on that Q&A section. Read the questions that are already given in this section. Remember, all the teachers who access the same subject and grade may have similar concerns and may have already asked them. So it is possible the answer is already there. Read through this, but if you don't find the question and answer there, then write your academic or implementation related questions here. And our subject matter experts will respond to you immediately. But also, Venki, there are certain things before teachers reach out or raise a complaint. Are there things that they should be checking for themselves? Venki, you're on mute.
Yeah. So with respect to how to identify an issue or how to get it easily solved from your end to start with, right? With all these apps, first and foremost is the most important one is the internet connection. Ideally, we need to have a stable and a faster internet connection for any of the apps to work seamlessly. If at all you are using your mobile data, please ensure you are in a place where the signal is proper for you so that you can get the right speed, and then you can make use of the apps. Next one is our development team keeps updating the apps frequently. They either try to fix issues which have already been reported or try to build new features and enhancements into the product. Also to keep the storage of the backend also then and there, the updates will keep happening. So whenever you see a new update for Super Teacher app or Universal app, please get that mobile app updated. Also in your phone, if you have this auto download and install the updates enabled for all the apps, then the system will automatically take care of that app updation. For the browser versions, which is web.exceedsuperteacher.com or universal.exceededucation.com, which you access through your Chrome browser through laptop. If you are facing some issues, you can just try once in your incognito window, which is a private window. Basically, the cache memory will not be used in such a case. So we will be able to identify if there is an issue or not by accessing through this incognito window. This is again, we have seen a little bit frequently, which is teachers usually have two different mobile numbers in general. They would have used one for the registration of Super Teacher, but they try to log in with a different mobile number or a different email ID, because of which they might not be able to log in, or if they had registered with both IDs, they might not have the right account. So please ensure you are trying to log in with the right email ID or a right mobile number in any of the mobile apps or the relevant logins. Also, anytime any error messages appear, in most of the error messages, you will be able to see what is exactly the problem in that error message itself. So you can just read through that error message, and if you just try to do that relevant action, then your issue might automatically get resolved. It's a very simple action. Just by seeing the error message, we can try to do it. Obviously, some error messages might be very generic or not specific to, not in words essentially, which we might not be able to solve just by seeing it. Take relevant screenshots and video recordings of the issues that you see. This will be really helpful for the support team. When you are writing an email, you can just share them so that they will be able to view that error messages in the screenshots format and then try to assist you on what could be the issue. So these are some things that you can do in general before you raise a particular issue, or while raising an issue, follow these norms so that it can be resolved in a faster way.
Okay, you've heard now from Venki and me. It's time to hear from the vice principal of a school that has actually been using all these processes. So let me play a quick video of one of our super teachers. And here we go.
We have the help website. Most of the FAQs will be listed there, and invariably you will be able to find an answer to your query. In case you aren't, you can reach out to your coach. Now, if it is something very specific to your lesson plan, maybe it's a mathematical problem, maybe it is some element in science. You have a question and answer section in the Super Teacher app, and you just type in your query. Invariably, there will be other teachers who have already posted similar questions or queries that you might have. So you might just get your answer by looking at the screen. But if it's a new question, go ahead and post it, and somebody will reach out to you within a couple of days. I've done that. Yes, it will. So just go through the help website, and probably before they can attend the training session on the weekend. Yeah, it definitely helps. Yes, I frequently send them, a lot of mails asking them to help me out. And yeah, they do respond within 24 hours. Sometimes, if they are not able to resolve the issue, they would send me a mail stating that somebody will reach out to me over the phone to get this resolved. And yes, it is. They resolve the issue.
Okay, now that you've heard from Cassandra ma'am also on the different ways in which you can resolve queries, what is one different way in which you would, going forward, after hearing from all of us, resolve your queries? Something, a method that you have not used before or until now, a process, a method that you were unaware of, you have not used until now, that you would consider using after attending today's webinar, hearing from Cassandra ma'am, from Venki, and from me. What is one different way that you could use to resolve your queries? Tell us in chat. I still see a lot of questions. We're trying to answer them as they come in chat. Any one different way in which you could resolve your queries? Okay, through email. Email or calling customer care. Yes, both of those work. Going through Q&A. Yes, for an academic concern, definitely that is a place to go to. You hear directly from our academic experts through mail. Okay. Great. A lot of those coming through via email. I would just also like to highlight, even Cassandra ma'am said, please do spend some time exploring the help site. There are exhaustive videos, questions that are already answered over there. You may not need to reach out to anybody. Just go to the help site. And as she said, before you attend the training on the weekend, which she's talking about, which is today, always useful to get familiar with the help site. Okay, it is now time for application, the fourth step of the Exceed method. And today we're going to have a quiz. I'm going to ask you a question and you're going to tell me how are you going to get the response to this question. So if you had this query or if you had this doubt, what would be the best way to get a solution, to get the answer to this question? So there are three questions and the first one is on your screen now. Resources mentioned red, blue, and green pens. Can you explain how to use them? We've taken actual question that has come into us, right? So this is a question that a teacher has asked. Resources mentioned red, blue, and green pens. Can you explain how to use them? Now, if you were a teacher who had this query, where would you put this doubt? Think of all the things that we have demonstrated. Where would you put this doubt? Yes, Raksha ma'am, thank you so much. Into the Q&A section. In Q&A, it is clearly related to the lesson plan and the resources that are suggested in the lesson plan. So it's an implementation related question. Go ahead, put it in Q&A, get the answer from an academic expert. Question 2 on your screens now. How can I help my students register for the Lanometer test? If you were a teacher who had this question, and I'm sure a lot of you do because you're new, as you have told us, Lanometer test is coming up in November. If you want to learn how to help your students to register, what will you do? Some teachers are giving me the answer. Yes, they have to register on Universal app. But how? If you were a new teacher and you had this question, how did you learn about it? Saraswati ma'am, how do you know that we have to use Universal app to register? How did you learn about it? If the new teachers can tell me, if you have this doubt, absolutely. Thank you so much, Saraswati ma'am. You learned it in a training. Like today, Venki spoke about it. So you can either attend a relevant webinar related to it, and we'll have many more closer to date. But even today, we have spoken about registration. So attending a relevant webinar, as Saraswati ma'am is saying, attending a training and learning about it is one way. Or you can visit the help site. The help site also has a video on how to register. So you need not wait for a training. The video is already made. It's there. Go ahead and watch it. Last question. I have not been able to see blocks on my Super Teacher app since the start of the new academic year. Teachers, if you were facing this problem, how would you get it resolved? If you were facing this problem, how would you resolve it? Okay, so Lakshana ma'am is saying update your app. Yes, that's one of the smart tips. Check for an update, maybe. But you can open the app, which you can't see the blocks. What would you do? Yeah, absolutely. Contact Exceed support. So there is something that you need help with. This is not an issue that you could resolve yourself. Definitely check for an app update. If that doesn't work, reach out to Exceed support. We are already way over time, but we cannot let you go without answering your questions. Now, some of them have already been answered in chat or Q&A, but I'm sure there are teachers here who have time commitments beyond this 1 hour that you had planned to spend with us. In case you need to move on, we completely understand. I'm going to quickly share with you a link to the feedback form that we have at the end of every webinar, your exit ticket for today. Please take 2 minutes to fill out this form anytime today, and then you may leave. For the teachers who have questions still, and you are okay to stay back, Venki and I are here to stay back with you and resolve your questions. So go ahead. If some of you have to move on to more classes, just copy paste the link for your feedback form and fill it a little later in the day. And thank you for attending this webinar. Teachers who have questions, start typing them now in chat. Venki, I'm going to just quickly go through the Q&A questions that we already have and answered, and let's answer them live for everyone, I think, right? So the first one that is still unanswered is the Exceed user code for students different from the school key?
Yes, it is actually different from the school key. So as I mentioned, there are two codes which the parents will be using, right? One is the Exceed user code, which is a common code for all the students. So it is the same code which will be available. The next one is a unique code which they will be applying, that they can share it from the Exceed side. We have already sent an email to the school, and they can in turn share it with the parents.
There was one more teacher who had asked that they have 65 children, but they have received only 40 codes. So yes, definitely all your children need codes. So please reach out to our contact at Exceed Education, and they will send you more codes. All students need, every student needs one code. So if you have more number of students than the codes that you have received, please do reach out to us and we will send you more. Okay, another question is regarding the physical classroom mode. Venki, are the teachers expected to log out after every class if they turn on physical classroom mode?
So the advantage of having this physical classroom is you are telling your login credential basically that whether you are working from a school or from your own laptop or computer. In case if you have enabled the physical classroom option, then what will happen is typically when you conduct a class, you will be making use of the projector screen or the student view where you have the slides and you conduct the class. Once you exit that particular slide, automatically a pop-up will appear asking you whether do you want to log out right away, or in another 30 seconds or 60 seconds, system will automatically log you out. Or if you want to continue using the Super Teacher app, you can just cancel that and move forward. So where it will help is it will kind of remind you to log out from that particular computer so that the next teacher can log in directly from the system.
There's also some teachers who have a concern that they don't have any equipment in their classes. So they don't have a smart board, they don't have a TV, they're not even allowed their mobile phones, and they're asking what can be done. So for us teachers, the most important thing is that you follow the lesson plan. And it's completely fine if you don't have the technology. If you do, it's a great teaching aid, but if you don't, that's also fine. The preparation that you have to do is anyway before the class. So my recommendation is go through the lesson plan, make your own lesson plan notes, get the resources for your class, and carry your notes to the class. Your handwritten notes, carry those to the class, even if you can't carry any other technology into the class. But most importantly, follow the lesson plan, be prepared for your class. Okay, any other questions? There's one question here on the pre-test. Webinars do not have a pre-test or a certification test, which is why it's not available. Also, one teacher is asking about codes being invalid. Parents are saying codes are invalid. Venki, what could be the reason for that?
Yep. So as I mentioned earlier, 99% of the cases is in such a way that the code which is the parent is trying to apply now has already been applied by some other parent of the same school, and they have registered their child. So in this case, the parent will just need to connect with the school asking for a new code, and the school can share the same to the parent. As I mentioned, to help this out, you can just send a mail to contact asking us to resend that code email once again. So once we do it, the email will have the data of which codes have been used and which have not been used, so that you will have a clear idea of that, and then you can share one of the unused code to the parent.
Okay, I have one question here, but I'm not very clear. Saida ma'am, can you please specify what are you asking about? Your question is how it's going to help pre-primary children. What is going to help pre-primary children? If you could help specify that, please. I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't know who's asked this question, but webinars do not have certification. Our trainings do. And for the trainings, the follow-up trainings, we're done with 3 already in India, and we're done with 1 in Philippines. You have to take the pre-test as well as the certification test. But webinars, we don't have certification. Oh, Lanometer. Thanks for that clarification, Saida ma'am. I think that's the last question that we'll take. We're almost 10 minutes over time. Lanometer is for grade 1 to 8. It is not for pre-primary students. It's an online assessment, completely skills-based assessment. meant for grade 1 to 8. All right, on that note, thank you very much, teachers, for your questions and being part of this session. Let me quickly also share, oh there, Venki shared the link in chat. Please do take a couple of minutes to share your feedback with us. And okay, you're most welcome. I'm seeing a lot of thank yous as well. Yeah, so please take a couple of minutes to share your feedback with us, and don't forget to join us in the webinar next Saturday as well. Till then, take care and stay safe.